Hey everybody, Derek here. We're going to take a look at the news from the 26th of July to the 1st of August 2021. So I bet you were hoping we were done with the whole Activision Blizzard thing. Well, at least I think Activision Blizzard were hoping we were done, but we're not. Continued fallout from the lawsuit that was brought last week. So if you weren't here or have been living under a rock or just decided to get into video games literally today, Activision Blizzard was served a lawsuit alleging behaviors of sexual harassment, sexual abuse, pay discrimination, and a bunch of other anti-employee stuff. As a response to that, over 2,000 staff, 2,000 Activision Blizzard employees have signed an open letter to the company's management criticizing its response to the discrimination and harassment lawsuit filed last week. Our company executives have claimed that actions will be taken to protect us, but in the face of legal action and the troubling official responses that followed, we no longer trust that our leaders will place employee safety above their own interests. Woof. This is a letter that was shared with Bloomberg. There's an article here if you do want to go there. Just a reminder, Bloomberg is paywalled, which is why I don't link to it directly. It's because they, I'm not paying for it. No, I use them a lot. Maybe I should. Anyway. So for context, Frances Townsend and Amazon, Jesus, fucking the same company. Activision executive Frances Townsend, known torture apologist and former George W. Bush administration member even, described the lawsuit as factually incorrect, old, and out of context. This has clearly not gone down well with the Activision Blizzard staff at large. They claim this is a truly meritless and irresponsible lawsuit, while seeing so many current and former employees speak out about their own experiences regarding harassment and abuse is simply unacceptable. The letter claims then that Activision Blizzard leadership and management were distorted and in many cases false. Notes that management was responsible for creating a company atmosphere that disbelieves its victims and casts doubt on the organization's ability to hold abusers accountable. And the rest of the article goes on to kind of highlight that the company has kind of pretty much stopped work entirely on World of Warcraft, pending kind of investigations, I guess, I don't know, or legal stuff that if the California eventually do go for like discovery phase of the lawsuit, that they don't want any additional shit coming up probably. And then the rest of it is to kind of highlight that other Blizzard senior management have come out with their own responses, but who cares? The full letter is here. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to highlight a couple of things. That our values as employees are not accurately reflected in the words and actions of our leadership. The statements made by leadership cast doubt on our organization's ability to hold abusers accountable for their actions. And then kind of like an actual, like, fucking do something. We call for official statements that recognize the seriousness of these allegations and demonstrate compassion for victims of harassment and assault. We call on Frances Townsend to stand by her word to step down as executive sponsor of the ABK Employee Women's Network. Activision Blizzard K. As a result of the damaging nature of her statement, we call on the executive leadership team to work with us on new and meaningful efforts that ensure employees as well as our community have a safe place to speak out and come forward. We will not be silenced. And then continuing from that, Activision Blizzard employees planned walkout and did walkout. They planned it for Wednesday. This is Sunday. The following Sunday, they did actually do a walkout. Activision Blizzard employees are holding a formal walkout Wednesday, calling on leadership to improve conditions for women, particularly women of color, transgender women, non-binary people, and other marginalized groups. Updated to this article that Activision Blizzard offered employees paid time off to participate in the walkout. Like, fuck you. That seems, on the surface, this seems like a condoning of the walkout or whatever, but what it's really saying is we don't care. Pay anyway, whatever. If this was actually a problem or if the upper management of Activision Blizzard really considered the walkout an issue, they would be trying to fight against it. The fact that they're paying for them to participate is like, okay, you go ahead and do your thing. We're really sorry. The protest event, formerly known as the Activision Blizzard Walkout for Equality, will be held tomorrow. There'll be a kind of virtual kind of walkout. Basically, it's just, tools down. We're just not going to fucking do anything. A complete refusal to do any work. There'll be an actual in-person one at the Blizzard campus in California. Employees unable to attend in person are asked to stop work and, signal boost with the ActiBlizz walkout hashtag, which you may have seen on Twitter during the week. It was trending within the gaming topic, I guess, of Twitter. I saw a number of them from Activision Blizzard employees, but also from other developers, community managers, personalities around gaming were also tweeting out about it. We are encouraging employees to take whatever time off they feel safe to do. Most of us plan to take the full day off without pay, but we understand some people, like contractors and associates and those who are paid less than they deserve, might not have the ability to do so. So it's nice that they recognize that contractors who are not directly employed by Activision Blizzard obviously can't contractually pull something like this because they're actually employed by somebody else, or they're there freelancing, or for whatever reason. Essentially, their employment status is not protective enough for them to do something like this, or associates is like interns and people still on what do you call it? Begins with a P. Come on, brain, you can do this. Probation? There it is. I got there eventually. I swear to God, as soon as I turn this camera on, brain turns to pudding. It's not even the camera. As soon as I fucking turn the microphone on, brain just goes to shit. Anyway, it's nice that they're recognizing that not everybody who wants to participate in something like this is capable of doing so. In addition to the walkout, there's several demands have been made to upper management. These demands include an end to mandatory arbitration. If you're not familiar, mandatory arbitration is basically, don't go to court, we'll settle this in-house. And you're contractually obligated to do that, which very much favors the company and not the employee, which is why they very much don't want to be doing that. There is a similar situation in Riot Games, who also have mandatory arbitration in their contracts when they were in the spotlight for sexual abuse, sexual harassment, same shit. They forced both their employees to go through arbitration, which grossly favored the company over the employee. Revised recruiting, hiring, and promotion policies. So what this basically says is they want the actual employees to be involved in the hiring practice to sort of, one, to kind of nip the whole nepotism jobs for the boys thing, but also to make sure that they're, actually hitting diversity stuff, that kind of thing. Pay rate transparency is pretty straightforward. It's just tell me what other people are being paid. Make it very obvious. And don't have this whole taboo of you're not supposed to talk about what you're paid, because that doesn't favor the employee, that favors the employer. The hiring of a third-party organization to review the company's reporting policy, HR department, and executive staff. So straight up, stop putting all this shit in-house, because it just doesn't favor the employee in the slightest. The full statement of intent is here, but it's pretty well documented in the article, so I don't really feel the need to dive into it further, but the link will be in the description, so feel free to jump into it yourselves. Yeah, so the rest of this article kind of just highlights what's happening. The Riot Games situation, which came about because of forced arbitration. Also highlighting the petition, or the open letter that was in previous article, that kind of thing, and then again stuff about Mike Morhaime and Jay Allenbrack and that kind of thing, but we don't care because they're not the victims in this situation. And then the update here is to just point out that Blizzard management basically said, no, we're so sorry. Here, we'll pay you even to protest. Yeah, that doesn't look suspicious or anything, but whatever. Blizzard confirms former Warcraft boss fired for misconduct in his treatment of other employees. So last week we had a quick look at Afrasabi, who was named specifically in the Activision Blizzard lawsuit for sexual harassment and sexual abuse and so on. There were some stories about him getting very handsy during BlizzCon. Then there was a further story that was buried in the lawsuit that not a lot of people picked up on, but they had an unofficially named hotel room, the Cosby Suite, which, if you're familiar with the whole Bill Cosby sexual abuse, potentially rape allegations, and I think it's gone through appeal, so I don't think you can say he's convicted of it anymore, technically. But you know, they had a Cosby Suite. I don't think the picture is in this article for it. Anyway, they had a bunch of Blizzard developers who had nicknamed a hotel room the Cosby Suite, where they would, allegedly bring women to female employees and such. And a whole bunch of other disgusting shit that I don't really want to go into, but yeah. So there's an exchange that was found here. Alleged screenshots of a group chat from BlizzCon 2013 titled "The BlizzCon Cosby Crew" include this exchange: "I am gathering the hot chicks for the cause. You can't marry all of them, Alex." "I can. I'm Middle Eastern." This is from Afrastrabi himself. "You misspelled fuck," reads another person's reply. And so on. Afrasabi was approached for comment, but did not respond within time. Anyway, this whole thing, this is back in, now remember, this is 2013, right? 7 years ago. More than 7 years ago. 8 years ago. They only got around to actually firing him in 2020, last year. So this whole 7 years he had been working there, pulling this shit. More than that, like, I imagine he had been working there even before the whole Cosby Suite thing. And it was kind of a kind of brief article last year that he had left the company, but as it turns out now, he didn't leave, he was fired for this stuff. And okay, fine, yeah, you fired him, but also, did it have to take this long? 7 fucking years? There's a whole exchange. It's not him by himself. Again, the picture's not in this article. I must have removed that article for just brevity, but he wasn't the only one involved in that. Definitely more than one person knew about it. Okay, so continuing on the story, Activision Blizzard boss Bobby Kotick, who may or may not be also the president of Activision Blizzard in a mustache. We don't know, because their names are very similar, but anyway. He basically finally came out of hiding to say that our response to the discrimination lawsuit was tone deaf, and then, as Wesley and Poole points out, as share price falls. So he's been compelled to talk because his 155 million fucking salary, it's not his salary, it's a bonus or some fucking dumb shit, is in jeopardy, so now he's got to talk about it. Our initial responses to the issues we faced together and to your concerns were quite frankly tone deaf. Yeah, no shit. And then a whole bunch of, oh, we're all in this together and we'll definitely address your allegations and we want everyone to feel safe where they work, yada yada yada, not committing to anything whatsoever. And yeah, it's just more of that. It's just highlighting the story. We work at a company that truly values equality and fairness. You clearly don't. You clearly don't work in a company that values that. The employees do. Doesn't seem like you do. Rest assured that leadership is committed to continuing to maintain a safe, fair, and workplace. Continuing to maintain. Sounds like you haven't been doing that at all. Shares of Activision fell as much as 9% in Tuesday trades amid the ongoing fallout. That's a lot. That doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot. Law firm WilmerHale has been drafted in to review company policies and procedures. More on them in a minute, because that's not a good thing. Effective immediately, Bob's said 5 actions. More employee support. More than 0.001% more employee support. Again, it's not clear what that means. Listening sessions moderated by third parties. The fuck is that? Yeah, we listened. We're not gonna do anything, but we listened. Personnel changes. We are immediately evaluating managers and leaders across the company. Anyone found to have impeded the integrity of our processes for evaluating claims and imposing appropriate consequences will be terminated. No, they won't. None of this is going to happen. More resources to ensure hiring managers have diverse candidate slates for all open positions. Recently, like this year, maybe very late last year, I'm not sure, Activision complained to California, the guys bringing the lawsuit to them, that implementing the state's diversity requirements was not workable. That was Activision's stance, Activision Blizzard's stance. So the idea of them somehow being able to just come out with more resources, why couldn't you have done that before? What was stopping you? How come you can do it right now? And then the last one is in-game changes. It's not particularly clear what that means, but there have been some statements made by some World of Warcraft developers that they are basically removing references to Afrosabi in the game. There are a couple of NPCs that are named after him or have names similar enough to him that they're probably named after him. A bunch of quests have something to do with his name and some items and stuff like that. So they're just gonna cull them. They're just gonna take them all out. Allegedly. And then one final thing, Kotick, who recently saw his $155 million pay package approved by shareholders, ended his statement with, "Your well-being remains my priority. And I will spare no company resource in ensuring that our company has the most welcoming, comfortable, and safe culture possible." This means fuck you in Ireland, by the way. Just in case you're outside of Ireland or the UK. Then, Activision Blizzard staff responded to the statement to basically say it's a bunch of bullshit, which it was. Kotick's statement fails to address critical elements at the heart of employee concerns. Specifically, they did not respond to basically the demands they laid out in their original open letter. They're not going to enforce arbitration. There's no worker participation in oversight of hiring and promotion policies. The need for greater pay transparency said nothing about that. And employee selection of third party to audit HR, etc. Upper management hired Wilmer Hale with no input from employees, basically, is the issue there. It was meant to be employee selection of a third party, not upper management selection, because who's paying them? Upper management are, etc. Right, so as I said, we're getting into Wilmer Hale, why it's a bad thing. So Mike Fahey here, Fahey. I think in the US is pronounced Fahey. Anyway, goes in, kind of dives into Wilmer Hale and their history, but kind of the big thing to take away here is that Wilmer Hale is the same law firm helping Amazon keep its workers from unionizing. So that's why it's not a good thing that they were hired. Unionizing is a hot button issue in the games industry. Basically, game developers and publishers don't want it happening, so they can keep pulling crunch shit and keep putting profits ahead of workers, keep firing employees and developers almost literally after the game goes gold. Like all of that kind of stuff, all of that horrible shit that they do to workers in the games industry, they can keep getting away with it because there's no union. So Activision bringing these guys in on the foot of all of these allegations, on the foot of the lawsuit, on the foot of employees open letter, walkouts, all of these kind of protests and stuff, they're bringing in a union busting law firm. That's not good. That's not a good look, Activision. Bobby, that's a bad look for you. Well, not that you particularly care what's a bad look for you. Then some history of Wilmer Hale itself. So the Hale part of Wilmer Hale were known for representing the US Army for free in the Armory versus McCarthy hearings. If you're not familiar, US history, the Army versus McCarthy hearings were basically a way to kind of shut down the McCarthyism, Red Scare stuff happening within the Army. McCarthy was going on this crusade to find communists, commie bastards in the US Army, and then the US's response that there was an allegement of favoritism and jobs for the boys, nepotism coming from certain senators associated with McCarthy in the US Army. So there was a kind of, no, you're bad. No, you're bad. You're the bad one. No, you. No, you're the bad guy. Anyway, more of that. Hale represented the US Army in that situation, and then they also represented Nixon in the United States versus Nixon, which is the whole Watergate. What did he know? When did he know it? Shit, just look it up. That's a whole big thing. Anyway, they represented Nixon, so that's not. These aren't not necessarily on the right side of history here. Anyway, WilmerHale is a big, powerful law firm that takes on big, powerful lawyers. They were also part of looking into the finances of both Enron and WorldCom, which we all know they basically got a slap on the wrist, even though the company went down, the people behind it didn't. They've also represented Swiss banks accused of profiting from the Holocaust, and German companies accused of exploiting forced labor during the Nazi era. Wow! These are like some proper evil lawyers, okay. And then people that are specifically assigned to Activision Blizzard for their audit or whatever. Partner Stephanie Avakian, who was heading up the Activision Blizzard policy review process, served as the Securities and Exchange Commission's enforcement director during the Trump administration. Wow. Because they did fucking nothing during that. Jamie Gorelick, Deputy Attorney General of the United States during the Clinton administration, has been a WilmerHale partner since 2003 and a member of Amazon's board of directors since 2012. The law firm they brought in to bust unions at Amazon is a member of the Amazon's board of directors. Come on. Some more stuff here from Activision Blizzard's HR stuff on having the WilmerHale people involved in the HR stuff. So like kind of push back again on the topic of unionization and stuff. The best way for protection within the company is reaching out to your supervisors, hotline and avenues, as the lawsuit from California, state of California would suggest. No, it isn't. Not done. No, we're not done. Parasites come out of the woodwork because the share slump. Shareholders are investigating the company as its stocks start to slump. They are alleging that members of upper management of Activision Blizzard have breached their fiduciary duties to the company. The fiduciary duties are basically here: don't do shit that makes the share price drop so much, I guess. Maybe there's a threshold for when they decide, no, but my money. Never mind the employees who are associated with this, but my money. My money. Anyway, there's a pretty good roundup here from Kotaku, everything that has happened since the lawsuit was filed. It's a bunch of mainly Kotaku, well, almost basically entirely Kotaku articles, but those articles link back to their sources and stuff like that. So I'll put this, I'll put a link to this in the description where you can check out that kind of stuff if you want to dive further into it. There's some stuff that I have omitted just for brevity for this video, but there's a bunch of stuff here that if you are interested, there's the picture I was talking about. There's a lot more than just the one guy here. Anyway, if you really want to, there's some more stuff you can dive in there for horrible, disgusting shit happening. Anyway, back to video games. It's fucking hard to go back to this shit after that kind of thing. Okay, Annapurna Interactive had a showcase during this week where they showed off a bunch of games coming up on their slate, so coming out later in the year and then later in the universe, I guess, because they didn't have a release date. So first up was The Artful Escape. We've seen, we saw it a State of Play, I think, a while ago. It is a kind of narrative, 2D kind of side-scrolly thing, very heavily music focused. You're following this guy who is in the shadow of, I think, his parents, maybe his father, something like that, who was a big, well-known musician, and it's felt that he's gonna have to follow in his footsteps, but he's like, I don't want to do that. I want to be my own guy. So have you considered becoming someone else entirely? The small amount of script that's shown off in this trailer is pretty funny, even though I don't think the game itself will be to my tastes. But I think, I don't know, because it's hard to, I'm not entirely sure what the gameplay is the whole point. I think it's just like a platformer, but it's kind of hard to tell, because there's not too much of this that looks like outright gameplay and isn't just cutscenes. So it's hard to tell. But they've also shown off that they've got a pretty famous voice cast. I think I skipped it. So I don't know who either of those two are, to be honest. But the kind of supporting cast, yes, I do know them. I would kind of prefer they go with voice actors, just purely because that is their job. Like, their job is to be a voice actor and not a live action actor or whatever. But it's their money, they can do what they want, I guess. Anyway, there was a bit of The Artful Escape. Then there was actual proper gameplay walkthrough of Neon White. Neon White looks really interesting. It is from Ben Esposito, who you may or may not know from Donut County, which is a funny kind of puzzler type game. And Neon White could not be any more the opposite of that. As he points out, Donut County was for kids and adults alike. Was a nice wholesome experience, and Neon White is not for either of those. Neon White is for freaks, that's how he puts it. It is an FPS parkour card game. It's fucking weird as shit, but he has a pretty good walkthrough on an explanation of how it works. That basically you have cards can be weapons, so whatever the weapon is on the front of it, but they also have an alternate ability, which is like a parkour ability that you discard the card to use. So he goes into here. Your handgun is a regular handgun, but it's also a double jump if you get rid of the card. The shotgun is like a fireball thing where you just launch yourself forward. The submachine gun is a death from above stomp thing. I think he does the fireball thing here where you can launch himself forward and so on. And he does a pretty cool run through of one level where he shows like the basic way, and he doesn't get a great score, but then he does it like the super cool practiced way and he gets a ridiculous score, and it looks like a lot of fun. And you can check that video out yourselves, the whole thing. It's lengthy enough that I'll move on to another one. A Memoir Blue is a sad game for sad people, if you want to be sad. It's kind of dive through the memories, history of this particular woman as she relives her childhood with an estranged mother, potentially. I don't know. The story has not exactly been laid out, but just that it's a dive through a kind of melancholic memory of this person. It reminds me a bit of Florence, but maybe not. Don't know a whole lot about the game, which is why I'm not really giving it much time, because we just don't know much. Storyteller looks really interesting. It's a kind of puzzle game. It's not even a kind of puzzle game, it is a puzzle game, where you are given the components of a story and the title of the story, and you basically need to make a sort of storyboard that tells that story. Give a pretty good indication here. So here's your title. It's a tragedy. You're given the locations or settings, and you're given the characters. So you need to make a tragedy with all of these combined things. And I think first off, they actually don't make a tragedy. They make a nice story, but that's not a tragedy. It needs to be a tragedy, yes. So we'll swap these around, and somebody died. Who died? Eleonora died, so now it's a tragedy. That's fun. The rest of the trailer kind of shows off some like really complicated situations, that kind of thing. Cure for Vampirism. There is a demo out on PC at the moment. If you want to check it out, it's out on Steam. I have it downloading in the background right now. It probably has downloaded at this stage. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm not great at recording PC stuff at the moment, so probably there won't be a video of it, but I'm gonna give it a shot and check it out anyway. Storyteller. And then Solar Ash, which I have been harping on about for quite a while because it's from Heart Machine, and Heart Machine made Hyper Light Drifter, and Hyper Light Drifter is a really good game that I'm really bad at. But I'm kind of hoping that this will be a really good game that I'm actually competent at least at. It looks like a mix of Pathless and Shadow of the Colossus. So there's got a lot of kind of big open area where you kind of move around in. You've got a lot of different mobility options, which again is very the Pathless. And then eventually you do fight just giant boss monsters. I'm not sure if there's any kind of regular melee combat. I think there is, because I think in a trailer it was shown off. But you do eventually fight like big dudes. It just looks really colorful and a lot of fun to play. And it's going to be out soon. It'll be out in October at some point. There was a release date in that trailer. If you really want to, you can watch all the way to the end. But basically it'll be out near the end of October. Did any of the other ones get a release date? I don't think so. I think Neon White did. Oh, Winter. Artful Escape did, 9th of September. So if you're interested there, that's when that's getting. And then Eurogamer put the wrong trailer embedded here. It's actually Skin Deep is the trailer they wanted to show. Skin Deep is a first-person, shooter stealth game, kind of. You are on a ship that is run by a bunch of cats, and you are their insurance commando. And it's your job to get the pirates off the ship with a bunch of shenanigans, basically. So, okay, goes into a couple of different scenarios. You've run out of bullets, but that's not the end. You can just yeet them out the airlock instead, and potentially yeet yourself out the airlock while you're at it. Just another kind of game mechanic here that if you accidentally make yourself smelly, enemies will be able to smell you. So don't make yourself smelly, or if you do, clean yourself off. you are smelly. This is a bad thing. Enemies will they will be able to notice your stink clouds and follow you around. Basically, it's a stealthy game that doesn't take itself too seriously, and there's be some shenanigans, and that sounds like exactly what I want to do. Yes, wash yourself off in the toilet, definitely. That sounds like my kind of game. Forget you saw that, whatever's coming up next, although you could probably just read it anyway. And then the cat game. So this was shown off at a State of Play. I think it might have been a Switch Direct or Nintendo Direct. Anyway, this is the game where you play a cat and you do cat things. Basically, you are a cat in a post-apocalyptic robot city thing. We'll skip ahead. This trailer is actually fairly lengthy, but you play as the cat doing cat things. You eventually come across a robot companion who is helpful in like puzzles and talking to people. Since you're a cat, you can't talk to people, but the robot can, so that's helpful. Then a bunch of puzzle solutions and stuff, but basically you're a cat. What do you need to know anything else? Probably not. Drink out of this water dish and so on. That's a fun trailer. I would check it out if you have the time. And then last, which was embedded earlier up here, but it's actually appeared here, Outer Wilds Echoes of the Eye is a expansion to the Outer Wilds game, which I have not played and have been meaning to play for quite some time, but I haven't got around to it yet. But this trailer is more of a tone setter, I guess. It's like the sun is there and everything's great, but then wouldn't you know it, the sun decides to go out or become eclipsed, whatever way you want to look at it. It's hard to tell. And anyway, more stuff for the Outer Wilds. I can't say anything about it because I never played it, so I don't know if this is a lot of new stuff or if it's just a new planet or whatever. But anyway, more Outer Wilds. And then the last thing for Annapurna Interactive Showcase, they were talking about a bunch of other games that will be coming soon, but they don't have anything to talk about yet. Some people they'll be partnering with, and kind of the more interesting one for me is the people behind Stories Untold and Observation, no code. They're going to be working with Annapurna Interactive on something new, which is good because Observation is really good, really good. And then finally a montage on a bunch of games that are already out, but they're coming to new platforms. So the Pathless is coming to PC, What Remains of Edith Finch is coming to mobile, and I Am Dead is coming to consoles. And Telling Lies is coming to Xbox Game Pass. Telling Lies is a really cool game too. It's a really cool puzzle game. And since it is the top of the month, that means PlayStation Plus games and Games with Gold games. So PlayStation Plus is getting Hunter's Arena Legends, which was only recently announced at a State of Play. It is a PvPvE melee battle royale thing, which immediately makes me go, no thanks. Absolutely not. I will never play that game. Then we're getting Plants vs. Zombies Battle of Neighborville, I think, which I think you're probably familiar enough. I think the Plants vs. Zombies, the yada yada, is a first-person shooter rather than like a tactical thing. I think it is. I'm not sure. And then the last one, a tennis game. I'm pretty sure you know what tennis is. So it's a video game that's about tennis. Cool. Games with Gold. Some interesting stuff, some not so interesting stuff. So we've got I forget that you can't fucking full screen when you're embedded like this. Darksiders 3, which is a kind of good. It's a good. It's a third-person melee game set with the Darksiders sequel, Darksiders 1 and 2, following a new horsewoman, horseman, whatever, of the apocalypse. It's fun. It's not amazing, but it's like some pretty good hack and slashery stuff. Lost Planet is a third-person shooty thing set on a frozen planet, I guess, from Capcom. Ukulele is a throwback to Banjo-Kazooie. It's platform, like a really old school collectible platform game. That's kind of glitchy, but it's fine. It does the job. And then the last game I've forgotten. It's Garu, I think. It's Mark of the Wolves. I think that's a fighter. So Lost Planet. It's a third-person shootery thing with mechs. Oh yeah, I forgot it had mechs. Yeah, Garu, Mark of the Wolves, I think is a fighter. Yeah, it's a fighting game. So there you go. That's your Games with Gold for August. Stop playing. Thank you. And then last thing for updates, Kena Bridge of Spirits has been delayed. It's been delayed by about a month, so this is the game that kind of looks like it's a Pixar film. It is adventure title that may or may not have ninjas in it, or at least martial arts, mysticism and that kind of thing. But it's been delayed by about a month or so, just to add the extra level of polish and that kind of thing. This looks really fun, and kind of cutie and wholesome, and it, like, as I've said for most games that end up getting delayed, it's like, fine, I have so many other fucking games to play, is absolutely not a problem. I am happy to wait. Okay, and then new releases this week. So first up we have Neo The World Ends With You, is a JRPG sequel to the original The World Ends With You. It's like 10-11 years ago now, I'm not sure the exact date. Set in Tokyo, in Shibuya, where you play as various anime JRPG characters, doing combat with music, more or less. There's a lot of catchy tunes. The original game had a really good soundtrack, and I don't imagine this one will be any different. This trailer is fairly lengthy and I think pretty much spoils the entire story. So maybe if you don't want spoilers, don't watch this trailer. I don't know. There is a demo for the game out currently, so if you are on the fence, you can check out the trailer, or you can check out the demo and see if it's something you enjoy or not. Also, the great Ace Attorney Chronicles, which is a kind of period piece of the Ace Attorney games. So you're going back in time and playing as one of Phoenix Wright's ancestors, and Herlock Sholmes shows up every now and then to kind of help you out with your investigations and stuff. But basically, it's it's more Ace Attorney. If you liked Ace Attorney, chances are you're gonna like this too. So don't think too hard about that, I guess. The Ascent is a isometric action RPG kind of thing that is unfortunately exclusive to Xbox and PC. So chances are I won't get to play this for quite a long time, maybe never. So that sucks. But it's an isometric twin stick shooter set in a kind of cyberpunk world called The Ascent, or a cyberpunk city, I guess, called The Ascent. And basically the idea is you are going to try to better your life by climbing the Ascent. So, you know, all the good stuff's on the top basically, and you want to make your way up by shooting, killing, and augmenting and that kind of thing. Looks like a lot of fun. I am very much reminded of Cloudpunk when I look at this. It just has that same vibe to it. But obviously, Cloudpunk was a visual novel that was very laid back, whereas this is going to be considerably more action focused. It's getting kind of mixed reviews. Like, people who like it really, really like it, and then there's other people who are like, meh about it. But from what I've seen, I'd say this is probably something I would like, and I'm a little annoyed that it's going to be a while before I can play it, I would think. Forgotten City is an interesting one. So the Forgotten City is a time-traveling narrative, somewhat puzzle game. And what's interesting about it is that it used to be, and still is, a mod to Skyrim. It's a really extensive mod, won a bunch of awards for its story. Also called The Forgotten City. Basically, you are traveling 2,000 years to the past to this Roman city, and the issue is that if anybody commits a sin within the city, everybody dies. So it's got a bit of Danganronpa to it, I suppose. And your job as person from the future is to keep basically Groundhog Daying until you figure out who is committing the sin and stopping it from happening and stopping the city from falling apart, basically. But I think the real issue is that there's more than one person. So you're kind of stuck trying to figure out and stop all of these things all in one day. Keep Groundhog Daying and going back and forth until you eventually figure out what's going on. It looks like a bit brain bending trying to figure out all that stuff. But again, it has won a bunch of awards for its writing in particular. And it's just cool to see like what was a fan-made thing that got a lot of traction, got a lot of come on brain it got a lot of focus is the word I'm going to use. It's not really what I mean, from the community, from other gamers, people playing Skyrim, and people not even playing Skyrim who jumped in to just play this particular mod because it got great word of mouth. And it's really cool to see that it's just got its own game now, and that's really cool to see. Okay, everyone's favorite part of the video, the part where we get irrationally angry at people and things who are responsible for making the things we like. I really got to work on that. Got to work on that title. Anyway. So Industry Buzz is actually kind of short this week, mostly because all of it was in the Activision and Blizzard section. Pretty much dominated the news in terms of industry stuff. But that's not to say that Ubisoft didn't decide to be scummy while everyone wasn't watching. So Ubisoft employees sign open letter slamming management's empty promises following last year's toxic work culture allegations, because fucking nothing has been done. So nearly 500 current and former Ubisoft employees have signed an open letter in solidarity with Activision Blizzard staff. Now, by now it's actually close. It's more than 1,000 at this point who have signed the letter. But the letter slams Ubisoft leadership's empty promises in response to allegations of systemic discrimination, harassment, and bullying within the company, and proposes an industry-wide collaboration to agree a set of rules and processes for handling reports of these offences. Not unlike a fucking union, guys. Anyway, the letter, some kind of excerpts from it. We hear you. This is addressed to the Activision Blizzard staff. We hear you and want to loudly declare our solidarity with you. Over the past week, the games industry has once again been rocked by revelations that have long been known by too many of us. Revelations that a year ago many were hearing from about Ubisoft and Riot Games. Also, let's not let them get out from under the bus. It is clear from the frequency of these reports that there is a widespread and deeply ingrained culture of abusive behaviors within the industry. It should no longer be a surprise to anyone, employees, executives, journalists, or fans, that these heinous acts are going on. It is time to stop being shocked. We must demand real steps to be taken to prevent them. Those responsible must be held accountable for their actions. Yes, absolutely, but I don't see that happening, to be honest. Then, shithead extraordinaire CEO Ijimo responded to this letter. Sorry, this is a response to the allegations from a year ago, is that he would do everything in his power to ensure that everyone feels welcomed, respected, and safe. And the open letter says that very little has changed. It has been over a year since the first revelations of systemic discrimination, harassment, and bullying within Ubisoft came out. We no longer trust your commitment to address these issues at their core. You need to do more. That does not mean more training sessions that go ignored by the people who need them most. And that does not mean more reassurances and kind words. It means real, impactful action. So it's like training sessions, like to prevent sexual harassment and like highlight it's not okay to grope people at work, and the people who need to go to those sessions don't, because they have the power to just say no. They have the power to go, nope, got a meeting, even though the meeting is my lunch. I'm eating a sandwich in 10 minutes. I can't go to this thing that was scheduled specifically because of people like me. Anyway, by choosing profit over our security or literally toying with our lives, we should not have to choose between work and our safety. We have stood by and watched as you fired only the most public offenders. You let the rest either resign or worse, promoted them, moved them from studio to studio, team to team, giving them second chance after second chance. That'd be a third chance, but okay, with no repercussions. As we've seen, there have been people put in charge of the new Assassin's Creed project that had allegations set against them, and instead they got promoted. There's the Ubisoft Singapore issue that has fucking actual racism going on there as well. Not to mention all the other sexual harassment stuff. So, yeah, the letter's correct, basically. Letter goes to call for real fundamental change within Activision, Ubisoft, everywhere, basically. And they want these changes to heavily involve employees in non-management positions and union representatives. Get them unions going. Basically, they don't want the change to be coming down from on high. They want the change to be coming from employees and upwards. Because it's too easy for management to turn a blind eye to these things and say they did something, or just shuffle some people about, or bring in WilmerHale and bust up any attempts at union. No, they want to come from employees. This is workers seize the means of production, you guys. That's what they're talking about. Then Ijimo did respond to say, yes, definitely taking your words seriously, and I'm definitely gonna do something about it. Just you watch, just you wait and see. Oh, I'm gonna do fucking nothing. So earlier this week, over 1,000 Ubisoft employees, basically we just talked about, they made their open letter. Ijimo responded, they were not happy about it. And he basically came out to say, we've made important progress. But previous reports earlier this summer alleged that nothing has actually been done other than the first wave of public firings. And that's about it. The demands of the initial correspondence were sidelined, and that only a few points in their express memo were even addressed. Ubisoft continues to protect and promote known offenders and their allies. We see management continuing to avoid the issue. It is also worth clarifying that an invitation to reach out to company management personally is not the same as having a collective seat at the table. Yes, that is correct. It is not the same as actually having power, which is what a union will give you. It's exhausting, frustrating, and it counters the messaging they give us. We cannot be happy or satisfied with this hypocrisy. For the one person who signed, there are countless others who simply were too terrified. Do better or keep losing good people. And that is in reference to Ubisoft hemorrhaging staff over the last year. I wonder why. I wonder why that is. Dickhead. Facebook halts Oculus Quest 2 sales over skin irritation. Right. So, right. The basic issue here is that there is a foam inlay inside the Oculus Quest 2 that you put on your face. Right, it's the part where the lenses are, or just in front of the part where the lenses are, and that is causing skin irritations. However, there is a bit of a story to this, because at the end of last year, Facebook were like, yeah, we heard about it, but it's only affecting like 2 people, so fuck you, we're not going to do anything about it. Or rather, sorry, we received reports about it, we're looking into it. Then they had an update in April 2021 that basically said, we've done a comprehensive investigation, so fuck you, we're not going to do anything about it. And then now suddenly, no, actually we're gonna stop selling it, because maybe it is bad, and maybe our lawyers told us that doing nothing was a bad move, so we're not going to do that. So they have halted sales of the current model of the Oculus Quest 2, and new sales when they resume will include this thing, which is a silicone cover that goes on top of the foam, basically. And people who currently own a Quest 2 and would like to not have skin irritation on the part that everybody can see, you can reach out to Facebook and get one for free. That's a bit of a U-turn on your part, huh? I'm wondering if the Facebook account is what's causing the skin irritation. Unfortunately, probably not. Ghost of Tsushima dev attempts to explain why PS5 features are only available in Director's Cut. So the issue here is the Director's Cut of Ghost of Tsushima comes with a new area, pretty much a new act for the game, Iki Island, but it also brings a bunch of PS5 features like haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, that kind of thing. But they're not going to be included separately. Included separately? No. They're not going to be offered separately as just a straight up upgrade from the PS4 version to the PS5 version. Why? Why not? Basically, these features will not be available to owners of the original game. So if you want to get the PS5 stuff, the haptic feedback, 4K, lip syncing, adaptive triggers, all that kind of stuff, without the Iki Island, essentially without having to pay for it, like a lot of other games are doing, no. Is the answer. You're going to have to pay for it. And the reasoning is the stupidest shit. So Connell, who is art director, I don't know why he's weighing in on this. He should really be a technical director who should be weighing in on this stuff. But anyway, suggests that the PS5's new features were tightly connected to its new story content. However, he made no mention of how the same story content could be released on PS4 without said features. So you're already releasing the story stuff on PS4, because you can get the Director's Cut on PS4 as well. So if the PS5 features are so intrinsically connected to the story, how come you can put them on a console that doesn't have them? And if they are tightly connected to one another, right? If the new features, the haptic feedback, the adaptive triggers, the lip syncing, the 4K stuff, if all of that is tightly connected to the new story content, does that mean it isn't present in the rest of the game? Does it only happen in this island? That's the only time you get all this other stuff? No, is the answer. Because it's in everything else too. So basically, it's bullshit. It's not connected to the story at all. It's just, they just want more money out of you, basically. And, well, they're going to fucking get it from me because it's a good game. I'm not happy about it. Okay, dumb stuff. Hooray. Sonic and Friends are going to appear in 2 Point Hospital. It may have already actually appeared in 2 Point Hospital. So you can get a kind of content pack for 2 Point Hospital. It's also published by Sega, which is why they can get away with this stuff. So technically it's not Sonic who's appearing, it's a Sonic costume. So the people under it are still, doctors and psychiatrists and so on, nurses. So it's not Sonic performing surgery. It's a surgeon dressed as Sonic. performing surgery. I don't know if that's any better. Your psychiatrist walks in a full fursuit. You might have something to talk about anyway. I don't know. It's a free thing that you can go right ahead and download if you happen to own 2 Point Hospital. I think it's only on PC. It's not specified actually, so you might be able to get it on console as well. Amazon MMO New World trolled with real facts about the company. So this kind of stuff, these kind of messages have been appearing in the kind of chat within the New World beta. Hey guys, I'm the official account of Amazon. Did you know we don't allow our workers to bathroom breaks? 2 bathroom breaks? Okay. They have to pee in flasks. We call them potions. Brilliant. So not only is that hilarious, but also it's by a character called Amazon Official. So Amazon, in their infinite wisdom, didn't lock down those names. On any server, you can get Amazon Official and Amazon Support. So Lulu Chiba, who is community director for a couple of different companies, I guess has a side job of being a hilarious troll. But they've been going about the New World beta, basically just dropping this kind of stuff on people. And I just think it's funny that they didn't think to lock down Amazon Official, Amazon Support, Twitter Official, Twitch Support. None of these. You didn't think it might have been a good idea on any server? They're all available. They're not worried about getting banned because they don't really plan on playing anything beyond the beta, so that's fine as well. And then very last thing, a whole new section that I'm adding just because I happened to see this article. A shameless plug from me. Sony are doing a share of the week this week. They do a share of the week every week, really. But this time they were focusing on A Plague Tale: Innocence. And there's some really nice pictures. Yeah, it's really good ones. Really nice pictures, you guys. And you know what? You can see pictures like this. And even moving versions of them too. If you watch my Plague Tale: Innocence Let's Play, currently up on the channel. Check it out. Part 3 just went up. Part 4 will be going up this week. All with and without commentary, if you really, really don't want to hear my voice, which I would not blame you in the slightest. Okay. Okay, so that was the news for 26th of July to the 1st of August 2021. Amazon lawsuit fallout continues, so a lot of hopefully continuing and persistent employee protesting and, getting their voice heard, getting upper management to actually fucking do something or get fired, which would be preferable. But the fact that Activision responded to the protests and the open letter by hiring a union busting law firm, that's not good. That's not a good look. It seems like maybe they're not all for making an inclusive and safe workplace. Seems like they're more for keeping people down where they belong. Annapurna Interactive Showcase was really good. A lot of games there that I'm actually really interested in, and even the ones I'm not that interested in, they still look pretty decent. So I may become interested in them down the line. PlayStation Plus and Games of Gold. Literally nothing for PlayStation Plus for me. Games with Gold, I already own Darksiders. Well, one, I don't own an Xbox, so it's not going to really bother me. But just the games themselves. I already own Darksiders. It's fine. It's okay. It's not amazing. It's not terrible, but it's fine. It does its job. Lost Planet 3, I've never played. And probably not going to, because it just doesn't really appeal to me. Ukulele, again, is a collectible platformy thing, but kind of feel like Mario sort of has that. I know they're not really the same genre. Mario is sort of just like fun level interaction stuff, whereas Ukulele, Banjo-Kazooie is more about collecting all the things. So they're kind of different, but they still sort of play the same. Anyway. And Garou, Mark of the Wolves, it's a fighting game. I don't really play fighting games, so that's the end of that. Bunch of industry bullshit. Ubisoft not to be outdone with the shenanigans. Have to be reminded that they are shitty people. That it? Kinda. Yeah. Yes. I think that's it. The Facebook skin irritation thing. I don't think too many people own an Oculus Quest 2 for it to be a big issue. I still have the Oculus Quest 1. It's sitting right over there. It's sitting right over there for quite some time. I don't know. I'm really not going to be getting a Quest 2 while the Facebook account is still required. If that ever changes, probably not. So we'll probably have to hope the PSVR 2, whatever it ends up being, is somehow... God, I'd really hope it'll be wireless, but I really doubt it also. Anyway, that was the news. Let me know what you guys thought, and check out some other stuff on the channel. I recently did played a little bit of Returnal, finally got around to it, and we had some fun there. And the Let's Play of Plague Tale Innocence is continuing, also over on the channel. So if you want to check that out, next week I'll be hoping, or this week rather, this week, since you'll be watching this on a Monday, this week I'll be looking to get a bit of play of new Pokemon Snap, and also continuing a Plague Tale Innocence, and maybe stream something. I don't know. Probably not. Don't get your hopes up, but I'm thinking about it. So we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.